Texas just brought their first criminal charges after their complete and total abortion ban in 2022. Someone was arrested for allegedly providing illegal abortions. Again, this story dropped within the last hour as I'm recording this. A Houston area midwife has been arrested on allegations she performed illegal abortions, the first criminal charges brought under the state's near total abortion ban. And she was charged with illegal performance of an abortion as well as practicing medicine without a license, according to Paxton. Now, we're going to learn more about this situation. Obviously, we don't have all of the details. We did get one quote from somebody who claims to be a friend of the woman who was arrested, and said, quote, "I don't believe it for 1 second regarding the allegations. I've known her for 8 years and I've never heard her talk about anything like that. I just can't picture Maria being involved in something like this." Now, here's the deal. Obviously, we know that when these states are banning abortion, what is happening is it's making it more dangerous for women who need abortions. If these allegations are true, that this individual was operating clinics without a license, or the people she was employing didn't have licenses, first of all, what that is showing is that women who are in desperate situations are willing to go to places like this for help. And that's not acceptable, right? This is why Roe v. Wade needs to be reinstated, because obviously women have a constitutional fundamental right to an abortion, regardless of if it's a life-threatening situation or not. But again, a lot of these women are in very tragic situations where they feel like they have nowhere else to turn, and they might be going to a clinic allegedly like this. Again, we don't know all the details yet, where they're not potentially getting the best care. And I can only imagine what it's like to go through a situation like that, to feel like you have nowhere to turn, especially in relation to abortion. I obviously, I feel sympathy. I can't feel empathy because I'm not, I try so desperately to put myself in their shoes, but I'm a white male. I'm a straight white male. So I've never been in a situation where I have the potential to be pregnant and not want to be. But again, I can only imagine how difficult something like this is. And in relation, you may have asked, why did you mention that you were a straight white? Well, because of these total abortion bans, we've seen a dramatic rise in the maternal mortality rate in Texas. This directly relates to this story, and I'm surprised more people don't talk about this. I cite this article all the time. From 2019 to 2022, the rate of maternal mortality cases in Texas rose by 56% compared with just 11% nationwide during the same time period. So again, maternal mortality being any woman who dies while pregnant, while giving birth, or shortly after birth. The CDC, I believe, defines that as within 42 days. This study comes from NBC, but it's citing CDC data. And again, what we see is predominantly the women affected by this are going to be African-American women, Hispanic women, people possibly who are part of marginalized groups or in low-income areas. We saw in 2022, the African-American maternal mortality rate in Texas was 43.6 per 100,000. For reference, Canada's maternal mortality rate is 8. The United States as a whole has the worst maternal mortality rate in the developed world, according to the CDC. I believe we rank 55th. And so again, what we've seen as a direct result of these abortion bans is not only women having to seek out dangerous situations, but again, more women dying, because what's happening is a lot of providers who were providing just general care for women are too scared to operate in these states. Again, directly relates how Texas abortion laws are driving doctors out of the state. My home state is Georgia. I was born and raised in Georgia. I've lived there pretty much my entire life. Half our counties don't have OBGYNs. Half. So a lot of women are driving well over an hour to see a primary care doctor. And I've talked to women who say, after Roe v. Wade was overturned, the OBGYN that I go to for primary care close down shop. And so you go and interview women in places like Texas, and they say, I don't know where to get care. I'm too scared to go get care. Or again, abortion laws are driving the doctors that they would get care from, whether they're pregnant or not, driving these doctors out of the state. Like we read here, because they're interviewing a doctor here in Texas, quote, "Because I personally, as a family physician, could face losing my license. I could face life in prison. I could face huge fines just for having a conversation with my patient about evidence-based care." And so again, doctors who are providing primary care or care through pregnancies, they're not willing to take these risks. They're not going to risk their medical license. They could get felonies for doing their job, so they're going to get up and they're going to leave the state, which in turn is making the maternal mortality rate. A lot of these women get pregnant. They want to be pregnant. They want to carry a baby to term. And when they would normally be able to get care, they can't. And so it makes the maternal mortality rate even worse. And God forbid, in all of that context, if something happens, maybe you're in a life-threatening situation where you need to get an abortion, or you get pregnant and you need an abortion for any reason, and you don't know where to turn. Again, these abortion bans are making it much, much, much harder to find any help and making your chance of death much higher. A lot of women who get pregnant, maybe they haven't seen any type of primary care doctor in a year or 2 years or multiple years. Again, because of these laws, because doctors are being driven out of state. You see how healthcare relates so directly to abortion. Abortion is healthcare, but I think in the context of Republicans, they don't understand that, when we're driving OBGYNs out of state, a lot of women just aren't getting primary care. Maternal mortality rate is exploding, and most of that doesn't even have to do with seeking an abortion. And again, the idea here from Republicans that this is what we should be doing with our time. We should be, signing laws under the books to be able to criminalize doctors or women who get abortions, make their jobs much more stressful, is disgusting. Again, as I'm recording this, it's only been literally 57 minutes since this story broke. So I'm not sure if the claims that the Texas state government are making about this individual, employing people who are not licensed professionals or operating clinics when she herself doesn't have a license. We don't know anything about that yet. So I will definitely keep you updated if you want to follow down below. I also post videos on TikTok as well. If you want to check it out, I'll keep you updated on this story. But again, we've been asking, the clinic themselves and friends and family of this woman just in the last hour about their stance, and they've said that they have been shocked. And again, this same friend described her as a devout Catholic and skilled midwife whose clinics provided healthcare to a primary Spanish-speaking low-income community. And again, quote, "I don't believe it for 1 second." We've seen Ken Paxton, the attorney general, who again made this announcement that they made this arrest. Previously, Kate Cox, who was actually a pro-life individual for herself, she was pregnant with her husband. She essentially had a pregnancy that it was going to cost her life. Unfortunately, the doctor said, you need an abortion right now to save your life. And a federal judge actually ruled in Kate Cox's favor in Texas. But then Ken Paxton, this attorney general, came out and said, no, 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 no. Just so the hospitals are aware, called out Kate Cox directly. We're watching you. We're watching to see what hospitals you go to, and he told the hospitals, we're watching to see what you do. So just essentially be careful. He essentially threatened the hospitals when Kate Cox was able to get an abortion through the federal judge. And so Kate Cox actually ended up having to flee the state, and she was at Biden's State of the Union, and she was very passionate at that time. I believe this was 2022 or 2023, and was still passionate during Kamala Harris's campaign about abortion rights, because this happened to her, and Ken Paxton and the Texas state government treated her like such shit. So again, I will keep you updated on this story. We will see what happens. I want to say thank you so much to everybody who tuned into this video. And again, I feel so much. I just cannot believe sometimes that this is where we live. I'm really hoping that every single day we can keep fighting for an America where basic healthcare, women have access to basic healthcare, but also people have the right to an abortion, because that's the country we should live in. I appreciate you guys. You can check out some of my content down below, link in the description, and I will see you in the next one.